Okay, so in this lecture, we're going to talk about the concept of creative prompting. So, how can we tell a story with our prompts? Having them be like more expressive, like setting like narrative instead of just these blanketed, generic prompts. Because the prompt is the power that you're going to get out of these agents. The way that you express yourself is fundamental to the results that you will get back. So, if a prompt can stage a scene, the model has something alive to play, right? So, when we look at the right side of this slide here, we have an empty stage. You can kind of even think of it as, the Matrix when Neo and Morpheus are in that scene and the construct is just this blank space. And that was like the foundation of what the Matrix was. So a prompt is not just an instruction, like it is a scene, like we're telling a story. If you look at it from another concept, which is the PRD or the product requirement doc, it tells a story of how a user would interact with an application. It could be a user and their business and their clients, and how their clients will interact with the business or the services that they are selling, and you are telling that story and seeing where there may be certain areas of improvement, right? So creative writing asks, what does the reader feel, see, and anticipate? And in comparison, creative prompting, what does the model need to imagine, inhabit, and deliver what it is that we are trying to build? So we have a few examples here. A plain prompt tells the model what to do. A creative prompt shows who is speaking, what is at stake, like where it happens, and how it should feel. And why this matters? Well, we all know about context, right? So the more richer the experience or more expressive we can be with defining the goals that we want to retrieve from the LLM itself, allows us to one-shot our ideas. And one-shotting really means that when we craft this prompt or this product requirement doc, and we have the LLM or the agent perform the goal with the given task, that there is a less amount of errors at the end. So one-shotting would be that you say exactly what it is that you want to do. The agent goes out and performs that goal, and what is returned is exactly what you said. So a practical formula for this is that we have a role, desire, obstacles, the world, voice, form, and constraints. And we will kind of delve into these later on as well. So what is the DNA becomes the prompt. So the core pieces of any story map cleanly onto the core pieces of a high-performing prompt. So we have a character, who the story follows, and the real persona, who the model should inhabit. So when we say something like, a software engineer or a CEO or a CTO, we have like the character which the worldview will be seen from. Conflict, what blocks the goal? So we have some task tension. What must be solved under pressure? Or what are the main steps? These could be performance KPIs. These different types of things. It really depends on what you are building, who are you building it for, and who the character is. The plot, how the events unfold, sequence, what order output should follow. So these are like the business processes. If you're talking about a shopping component, a user comes in, they view certain items, they select certain items, they put it in a basket, then they purchase it. There could be some marketing that was done before to drive in the client. What is the, cost to acquisition for a particular buyer? These types of things. Setting, where and when it lives, right? This is the context. What world details the anchor, the response in itself? So these are those types of scenarios. Is it a game that they are interfacing with? It is it a DeFi application? Is it just a web e-commerce application? Like all these different types of things, right? The POV, like whose lens tells this story, the voice, stance, how the output should sound, the theme, why it matters, and this is driven by what the intent is, what meaning or effect should it have. So when prompts fail, one of these story parts is usually missing, and the model may have instructions, but not enough narrative gravity to organize them properly, or the way that you envisioned it. So a good prompt casts a role, a want, and a world. A strong prompt can carry character, conflict, setting, the view, the theme, and form at the same time. So here we have a long prompt. You can kind of read through it, but there's key components here, and they're all mapped to these things that we were talking about on the last slide. So we have a weather stage director. That is our character. Anxious actor. This is the conflict. Write a 100-word pep talk. This is the person of view, the voice, and then we have the theme. Courage under pressure. So the result, the model is not merely motivational; it's performing inside of a specific dramatic moment. So the point of view changes the output even when the task stays the same. So the voice is not decoration in this sense. It's a decision about stance, distance, and authority. So the first person as the founder, I know change sounds rational on a slide and reckless in a real budget review. Second person, you do not reject change because you're lazy. You reject it because the old routine already knows your name. And third person, people cling to habit because familiarity lowers the cost of uncertainty, even when the habit is failing them, right? The idea stays constant. The narrative lens changes the reader's relationship to it, right? So the point of view here, or I like to call it the person of view, when we're dealing with it inside of the context of writing prompts, because that is also in certain instances context switching, where you may have certain prompts for these specific types of roles. Say if you're you're an entrepreneur and you want to build out a company, and you're defining these specific roles, like there's a CTO, there's a CEO, there's CFO. You're going down and you're creating prompts that for these specific roles and how they will go about it and do their specific tasks within the organization that you've defined. Show, don't tell works in prompts as well, right? So here's a flat request. Write a compelling launch email for a new running shoe, right? The vivid rewrite, write a launch email for runners who train before sunrise, open on cold pavement, visible breath, and the first slab of shoes on wet concrete. Make the shoes feel light, fast, and quite obsessive. More ritual than gadget. Keep it under 100 words, 180 words, right? So we have some sensory detail, our specific audience, we have strong verbs, we have a hard capped limit, and then there's some emotional texture there as well. So prompting is drafting, it's not dictation, right? Creative writers revise for clarity, structure, and voice. Prompting benefits from the same loop, right? So we have the first part here, the seed, right? The simplest version of the task. In step 2, we expand, we add role, audience, setting, and form. 3, critique, ask the model what is vague or missing. So you're kind of that's that back and forth part. We tighten it up, remove blurs, sharpen verbs and constraints. And 5, vary, generate 3 tonal or structural alternatives. So a useful meta prompt here, what would make this prompt more specific, vivid, or structurally reliable? Write it in 3 stronger versions, right? So we can we're going to get into the concepts of just prompts, and then you have a concept called a high order prompt, and then you have meta prompts where like prompts kind of, create their own prompts. So constraints spark creativity, vagueness kills it, right? So helpful constraints, form. We have haiku, memo, monologue, FAQ, scene, dialogue. Boundaries, under 120 words, no jargon, 3 examples, 1 metaphor max. Lens, for skeptical CFO, for a teenager, from a local reporter. Tension, deadline, trade-off, taboo, high stakes, contradiction. Okay. Common pitfalls, perfectionism, waiting for the perfect prompt instead of iterating. Throat clearing, too much setup before the real task begins. Weak verbs, asking for better instead of compress, sharpen, dramatize. Know why, failing to give the output of this specific purpose, the audience, or the emotional target in itself. So creative prompting improves when you make the assignment smaller, sharper, and more playable. So here is the creative prompting canvas. This is like a 1 slider. So we'll have a role, desire, obstacle, setting, the point of view or the person of view, form, constraints, and emotional target. So as a task, if you've made it this far, take this prompt and fill it in. Do different types of variations of it. Drop down in the video below with some of your really cool ideas and some of the stuff that you guys have come up with. And that's it for me. Hope you really liked this video on creative prompting. And please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more of this stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one.